All right. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our Blunt Brunch Live. We are super excited this month to have on special guest Kaila Strong of Curaleaf. I have been able to watch Kaila's growth in the industry over the years, and it's just been remarkable. She is super talented, and we can't wait to bring her on to discuss why it's important to sit on boards and how being involved in boards can not only benefit you, but also your business. So I am going to bring Miss Kaila on to join us today. All right. Hi, Kaila.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me on today.
Thank you for being here with us. It's such an honor. For those of you who don't already know Kaila, if you will, please introduce yourself and maybe give us a little bit of background about yourself as well. That would be wonderful.
Sure. Yeah. So my name is Kaila Strong. I'm the director of retail marketing for the West Coast with Curaleaf. So my team and I, we help oversee 6 different states for Curaleaf, managing all sorts of marketing, retail operations, legal. There's so many things, compliance. There's so many aspects.
Everything, right? All the things.
Yes, with all. Yes, yeah. So have a wonderful team in the West, and really have enjoyed working with the team. And I'm currently pursuing a degree, my grad degree with Cornell University, and hoping to graduate in August, early August. So in the last final stretches, and working on my capstone. Yes. Good.
Wow.
Yes, with all this.
I mean, some of us just, work our butts off, but then some of us take it to that next level. My gosh, Kaila, I mean, in school, doing all the things for Curaleaf, plus you sit on boards. I mean, when do you have time to sleep?
Thank you. I appreciate it. I know, right?
No, really.
Yes. Yeah.
That is so awesome.
I'm currently serving as the board secretary for the Arizona Cannabis Chamber of Commerce, and I volunteer with the National MS Society, working to bring awareness to multiple sclerosis. And then in the past have served on the American Marketing Association board for the chapter here in Arizona, and then have consulted with boards of several companies, and then also have presented before boards as a member of Jupiter Research when I was previously with that organization, which is Tilt Holdings, and so being able to work with the board there has been amazing. But in forms or fashions, I've had a chance to interact with a wide variety from volunteer opportunities to board of directors for companies as well. So yeah,
that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us, being as busy as you are and making time for this opportunity to share with other folks who are maybe watching who aren't currently involved, but maybe want to get involved in some capacity in their communities. But before we dive into that, I would love to know, what does Curaleaf have on the agenda coming up this quarter? I know that you're running the marketing department, so I know there's got to be some really cool things in the works that maybe you can share with us that you're heading up.
Sure. Yeah. So the retail team, the retail marketing team is small but mighty in the West. There's 4 of us total, and our main focus really is waste management open. I'm blessed to have a store that's right across the street from the Tournament Players Club, where the course will be. So excited to throw a really nice outdoor event, multiple days, having vendors on site, and just really being able to capitalize on the traffic that we'll see. And then of course with the big game, I know I can't necessarily say the name of the bowl, but
the game that everybody knows about. It's happening.
Being a host city with Phoenix, I mean, obviously, we very amazing year this year for being a host, and I also oversee retail marketing in Nevada, and next year Las Vegas is the host city. So we are scaling our plans, from this year at several dispensaries here in Arizona that are very close to the stadium, and then being able to kind of plug and play models for next year as well when we're a host
That
city.
is so cool. I forgot that's going to be in Vegas next year, so it's right around the block from us.
Exactly, I know, and you might as well start planning now, when
Right?
it comes to
That's
things in Vegas. So
exciting.
yeah,
Very
but
cool. So if people
yeah.
want to find out more about what you guys are getting involved in, where could they go to?
Sure. Yeah. So sign up for our emails and text messages on curaleaf.com. If you're in Arizona, you will receive any of our messaging. You'll be opting into text and to email. So yeah, check us out there, and stop by our stores. Tuesday through Sunday, that week of Super Bowl and of Waste Management Open. We will have all kinds of deals and amazing events at many of our locations. So yeah.
Awesome. I'm going to have to go load up. I'm going to get my cart ready.
Love it. Thank you.
I love a good deal.
Okay.
So as we dive into this month's topic, we'd love to know dive more into your experience, and maybe you can share with us when you started volunteering for a board, and what that experience was like with that organization. I believe it was the MS organization that you mentioned that's really near and dear to your heart.
Yeah. So one of the reasons that I actually got into cannabis is, my mom has multiple sclerosis, and she was diagnosed before I was born. And so my whole life I've known and been impacted by an individual that had a lot of ups and downs when it comes to MS. And she's a rock star, man. She is the one that motivates me every day, and is my rock for sure. So
That's beautiful.
Thanks. Yeah. And being able to really see cannabis impact on individuals that have, whether it's multiple sclerosis, whether it's even social anxiety, or, for general health and wellness, just being
sanity, mom sanity. Let me tell you,
exactly.
It comes in handy for that.
Student sanity as well.
Yeah,
really.
right. Employment sanity. I mean, you can name all of them.
No, you're exactly right. And cannabis is always one of those things that, because of my mom and her impact from MS in general, and just really seeking out alternative medicines, and realize that there's this whole group of individuals that just, don't necessarily get introduced because they're so formalized in Western meds and things like that sometimes cannabis just doesn't even enter the conversation, and so being able to work in the industry and be able to really affect the way that products are brought to market has been a big passion of mine. And so I've volunteered with the National MS Society for quite some time. When I was little, we would do the races when my mom was physically able to, and walkathons, and raise money for every mile. And, so being able to give back when I moved to Phoenix about 17 years ago, I joined with the chapter. And although I've never served on the board of the MS Society, it's definitely something that, heading up some committees and being a part of marketing and providing a voice for individuals in the cannabis industry, to kind of, sort of bridge some of that gap as well has been really important. And so we throw several events each year with the National MS Society. One of them is, it was previously the Women Against MS Luncheon, which is now Together for a Cure. And recently in September, we threw the event and were able to raise almost $250,000 for MS research.
That's amazing.
Holy
smokes. That's a lot of money.
Yes, for sure.
Congratulations.
Very, very needed. There are so
amazing.
many individuals, that are impacted by MS throughout the world, but especially in Phoenix as well. There's a large community that is just underserved, and so being able to volunteer, being able to again bridge that gap, provide resources and give doctors and individuals who are newly diagnosed tools and like I said, those resources to really find more information is kind of that key. And that's where I think, serving on the board and finding that passion that that you have, trying to really align with what it is that is going to get you up in the morning and be able to, really sustain you, because for the most part, these are volunteer opportunities. There's large risks and fiduciary responsibility with being able to do some of those things and serve on a board. So, like I said, although I haven't served on the board of the MS Society, even being a committee member and with hopes of serving on the board in the future, which comes with a large ability to raise money, right, and to build that skill as well is incredibly important. So
wow, that's so amazing. Yeah, you totally hit on one of my questions. Like, if people are looking to serve on a board, how do they find the right board? And I think you hit that right up in the nail on the head there by talking about finding your passion, finding what lights you up. So that way, as many of these opportunities are volunteer, you can still find the motivation to put in that time and that energy like you would any other project, that's a paid project. So I love that. I think finding your passion.
Yeah, finding the passion for sure. And I think there's a few different ways to get involved. If you're interested in the nonprofit angle and being able to, really check out what the organization is about. Most nonprofits and organizations have a board of volunteers that help with a variety aspects of running the actual, organization. So there's certainly that component. Most corporations, though, and LLCs will have, or publicly traded companies, all of those types of classifications of companies will often have boards as well. And so by serving on some of these nonprofit boards, it does set you up and does kind of, it's a resume builder in a sense, to be able to see how formalized meetings work, how business operations run from a board of director perspective. And can be a really nice kind of tie-in into more formalized board positions that would be paid or still volunteer, but within an organization as an employee. So those definitely are different paths there. The other side I would say is consulting, building up that roster and building up your ability and your credentials in whatever subject matter expertise you may have. Definitely creates you as a subject matter expert to be called on and invited to join a board, which I think is that ultimate sort of kudos and and pat on the back, when you've made it in your industry and being asked to join a board in that way as well. So
yeah,
a couple different
absolutely.
avenues. Yeah.
It is quite an honor. I have to say, sitting on a board with you is quite an honor with the AZC3. So I have to agree. It is a lot of responsibility, but also with quite honor that we get to work with other professionals that we admire and respect, and we can learn from each other. And I think that's another part of it, is networking and being able to meet individuals and find out more information about whatever topic it is that you're feeling so passionate about, that you're involved in. I'm sure for your MS Society that you get to get firsthand information or updates and things of that nature, just being involved in the committee. So there's multiple benefits to getting yourself involved.
Yes, no, and passing along that information to my mom, so that, on her next neurologist appointment, she has a working knowledge of maybe a new drug trial that's coming out, or, just that kind of insider track that is incredibly helpful. Now, I should preface that when I can share what I can share, there are certain topics and discussions that, it's left in that, group of individuals who are volunteering until it's ready for public eyes. But, there are always tidbits of information. And like you're saying, that networking and just really being able to have the tools and the resources and get in front of individuals that you may not have had the opportunity to, that the board and volunteering will provide. So.
Yeah. Absolutely. So with all of your experience over the years working on various boards, what is some takeaways that you may have learned along the way?
Yeah, so I think a big one is, and this is where I often will get caught, is not over investing. I think it's, if you take on too much at certain points in your life, and just understanding that obviously your time is incredibly important and being able to balance everything is always important. But I think, we get so involved in some of these pet projects and these volunteer opportunities, you do have to set some boundaries for yourself and really understand what is truly, within the means of being able to do it and do it well. So I will admit, when I was on the American Marketing Association board, I helped with social media and other marketing initiatives on the board. And it was at a time when I was first starting at a new startup, when I was first at Jupiter Research. I was buying a house. There were so many things that was going on all at the same time. And I thought, okay, yes, I have enough time, but I really, in hindsight, don't think I did as well of a job. And of course, we're always harder on ourselves than anyone else will be, so I'm sure it was fine. But, I think that's just one of those big takeaways.
That's a great takeaway, before somebody decides to commit to something, making sure they have the bandwidth and that they can set up those boundaries so they don't feel overwhelmed or like their volunteer work is taking over their personal or their business time, either or. So
right.
It's all about balancing, right? It's all about finding that balance. So
exactly. Yes. Yes. And I think when you're a consultant or when you're when you're a small business owner, you may have more flex time at certain periods, but everything always changes. And so, being able to know what those triggers are for when, okay, I do need to step back. Or also, I think, I'm not one to want to start projects and end projects right away, but if there needs to come a time to step away, doing so in the best way possible that is not burning any bridges, obviously, but also does justice and service to the role that you have on the board, because that it serves a purpose, so if you're not able to fully do it, doing the association, the volunteer opportunities, the company, a service by relinquishing is sometimes a tough decision to make too. So
it is always hard, especially us people that are highly motivated and want to volunteer everywhere and help everywhere that we can. It is hard to, I guess that could be one of the challenges, right? Finding the time and being able to kind of balance things. I know that was my next question was, what are some of the challenges and hurdles that come along with also serving on boards? Just, for the ladies who are watching, I'm sure those who are excited about getting involved, it's always nice to know all the things before jumping all the way in.
For sure. Yeah. And there's so many positives that come from it, for sure. And being able to leverage for the purpose of meeting new people and giving back and, all those things. But to your point, there are some drawbacks. And I think one big one to really understand is based on the board that you're serving on and based, if it's a company or volunteer volunteer organization, any of those positions really come with a fiduciary responsibility. And I think, we've heard those terms kind of put out there, but really what does that mean? And what does that mean to you and your personal, your personal liability? And being able to hold yourself harmless from certain activities that you may not necessarily know, you don't know what you don't know, but going into an organization that possibly has some risks from a perspective of it casting to you from a personal perspective or professional perspective. So then just really doing your due diligence ahead of time and understanding, what the board, the purpose is, what all aspects of how it's run. And, there's going to be certain things that you're not necessarily privy to, but I think that overall fiduciary responsibility is, overall important and can act in a few different ways. So just really understanding, that piece of it, and maybe even getting some legal advice as well. You're not expected necessarily to know everything, right? I mean, we ask for advice and recommendations all over the place. So I think asking a legal mind to be able to weigh in on it as well is important, because everyone's situation is different and where you're at with your own, individual business, or possibly you're a consultant, or possibly you have, you're an employee for an organization. Even with, any of the boards that I've been asked to be added to. And if I was of interest and things of that nature, going back to my PR team and asking, you know, them to do their due diligence as well, because I attach with me is also the Curaleaf name, right? And so there's a lot of things as a publicly traded organization that we have to be careful of. And I won't even begin to say that I know even a little piece of it, you know. So
we got a whole team to handle that part, right, Kaila?
Exactly. Yeah, that's what they're there for sure. We have such a great team, but yeah, just being able to cultivate and look within your own, you know, own sphere and really understanding what that means to you for fiduciary responsibility. But yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for all that insight. If folks want to get in touch with you or stay connected with you, how can they reach out? Do you have an email or social media that you'd like to share?
Sure. Yeah. So most of I'm like, what is it? The cobbler's children have no shoes kind of thing. My social is not the greatest, but you're welcome to follow me. Click Kaila is my social, or send me an email, Kaila, Kaila.Strong, Strong, @curaleaf.com, and he will reach me.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Kaila, for your time today. And thank you for sharing your knowledge with everyone. And just thank you for being an awesome woman that we can all look up to in business and beyond. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for the opportunity. Yes, and right back at you.
Kaila. All right. We'll see you later. Have a great day. Bye.